I was going through my scrap wood pile and I've been seeing all these builders on Instagram doing a bunch of scrap wood projects at home. So I wanted to bring you a DIY beginning woodworker project that I think is perfect for anybody that's a little bit intimidated to start off with this and make some chic, simple triangle shelves. I am going to be using pine. It is a softer wood and it's pretty budget friendly over at your local box store. I'm going to be ripping it down to 6 inches, but you can purchase the width at your box store. I'm using scrap wood, so that's why I'm going to have to rip it down with the table saw. I'm going to adjust my fence. I check it with my speed square because this table saw is a little wonky. I'm looking to upgrade from this Ryobi to saw stop. And then you want to adjust your blade to be just a little bit over the thickness of your wood, just for safety purposes when cutting it. A side note about pine for me, I typically only worked with pine. I am just now branching out like you saw with the bed with the Douglas spur. So don't feel like you need to get crazy and make like walnut triangle shelves if you're a beginner. Like start with something that's budget friendly so you can at least get the build down and then level up. I am now using my miter saw to cut down the ends at a 30°. That's going to be your sweet spot, a good 30° cut at the end of each piece. You can have the wood up like this against your miter saw, or you can lay it down, which I'm going to show you in a little bit as well. But you can also use a circular saw or a miter box. I'll link the different options below for you, but when you're cutting, here's an example of how to flip it. So you're going to slice off, cut off one end, and just rotate it just like that, and then cut off another. I know that seems weird, but sometimes I'll flip the board a different way and then cut that angle, and the angles are going to be going the same way, which you don't want. You want them to be, again, opposite of each other. I switched over to my Milwaukee miter saw. I was on my Makita, but it died. They are both cordless. Again, link and everything down below for you. If you don't feel comfortable enough holding the wood against the miter saw, you can definitely clamp it. But because I've been doing this a little bit more experienced, I feel fine just holding it with my hand securely. Bringing you a quick commercial break from today's sponsor, Vanity Planet. Thank you so much for partnering up once again. They have been a consistent sponsor for you, Broad. We are going to be looking at the Radia Facial Cleansing Brush today. I feel like I've had one of these things for forever, so I actually gifted this to the mini human, which you will see in a second. But it has 3 interchangeable brush heads, including 1 daily cleansing brush, a weekly exfoliating brush head, and a silicone brush head for sensitive skin. It comes in 2 different colors, blush and gray. It's also water resistant and has an ergonomic non-slip handle. Even though we are staying home and staying safe, the brush and brush heads do come in a ventilated travel case. When I told Heaven I had to shoot this sponsorship for Vanity Planet, she is all about skincare, so she literally came into the bathroom, we set up the ring light, and she gave me a full spa night in, which I really did not mind. My go-to when using the Radia is the daily cleansing brush. I love not touching my face in the morning and night before I go to sleep with my cleanser. I personally feel like it makes the biggest difference in my skin. Like I don't notice it's like super oily with these weird little patches of acne where I used to consistently touch my face. If you guys are interested in trying out the Radia for yourself, you can click the link in the description box down below and enter my code metzglow at checkout, getting 70% off, which makes this about 39 bucks. I'm going to be making 2 different triangle shelves, just slightly different measurements. So one, I'm going to be cutting down 3 different pieces with those 30° that we spoke about at 15 inches each. And then I'm going to cut 3 more for the second triangle at 12 inches each, just a slight little difference. So for this part, you actually only need glue and tape, or if you want to use a strap clamp, you can. But when you're assembling the triangles, you're not going to be connecting the corners at the angles. You are going to be basically stacking them. It's kind of like staggering the pieces to create the entire triangle. If you're feeling super frisky and you're making a larger, more in charger triangle, or you want it to hold heavier duty items, you definitely want to come in and use pocket hole screws, which I've done here on my channel before. But to keep it super basic and beginner, wood glue is so strong. So I am just going to be wood gluing this together and then using tape as a clamp and then also a strap clamp just to see how both of them dry overnight. Something that frustrated me real time when I was doing these triangles is no matter how many projects I've done, angles and just like gluing together a triangle for whatever reason for me just doesn't seem to go seamlessly. So when I glued all the corners and edges together, they're kind of slightly off, but because this is pine, I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to let it dry, come in and kind of sand it smooth. So don't get upset if it's a little bit off, because you can always sand it down and give it the illusion that you didn't really mess up. As I mentioned before, I am using a strap clamp for one, a strap clamp for one, and then taping the other and letting that sit overnight. Now, wood glue dries way quicker than that, but just because I had other projects going on, I wanted to let that sit to see how strong the hold can really be when I fully let it dry. The next day I came back, took off the tape and the clamp, and voila, you got yourself 2 basic triangles that you can now zhuzh up with stain, paint, and adding different shelving like I will show you in just a hot second. I personally head to Pinterest when I'm feeling a little bit lost, so when you browse over there for triangle shelves, you can see there are a ton of different ways to do the shelving on it. I'm going to keep it super basic, like I said before, and just do one piece of wood to show you how you don't really have to go over the top to make such a rad piece of home decor. I cut 2 more pieces. One was an 8-inch piece and one was an 8.5-inch piece, and I did the same 30-degree angle on each side, cutting it down on my miter saw and glued that into place where I saw fit. Wood glue up the edges that are going to be connecting obviously to the inside of the triangle, and then place them again wherever you guys want to. I did one making it look like a little mini triangle inside the big triangle, and then I made one just going directly across, but I will be flipping that triangle because we will be hanging these as a little duo situation. I did feel a little strange not securing the shelf portion of this entire thing, so I just went in and used my pin nailer, which you can't even see those pin nails. Looking back, I would definitely sand the pieces down prior to putting it together and then just go over the edges that were a little bit wonky, like I mentioned before, when I glued up and they weren't like properly lining, because I didn't get to be able to, I didn't get to be able to sand the inside of the triangle since I didn't bother to sand prior to assembly. You always want to be sure to take a damp cloth and wipe down whatever you sanded to get rid of all debris before we add our stain or paint or finish of choice. I love these paint cones that I picked up in the paint department of Home Depot. They come in handy for all sorts of projects, highly recommend. I will be using Varathane's flagstone stain, and this is something that's really popular amongst a lot of DIYers. I see it's one of their go-to stains, so I figured I would use it and show you guys what it looks like because I see it around all the time. I'm just gonna put on some gloves that I've used for staining and finishing for a while now. I like to reuse the gloves if possible and slap that on there with the cloth, take the excess off with a foam brush, and then I'm gonna go in with a satin crystal clear finish and add 2 coats of that sanding in between, and voila. Look at what you just did. No, we are not stopping there. I wanted to add a little bit of an extra detail, and we can use proper hooks to hang it. Again, you want to just keep in mind the weight you are intending to put on these shelves. Mine is not going to be that much. It's just like for decor purposes only, but I did want to make this a little bit functional and add some of these hooks to the bottom of the one that had like the baby triangle within it and make it a moment where I can hang up my necklaces and accessories. As far as hanging hardware, this is all I had on hand. They are a little bit too chunky to my liking. I would definitely get something a little bit more slender so you couldn't see it behind the wood. I'm using my speed square just to make sure that I'm making my marks at the right, I don't even know. I pre-drilled where I wanted to put those hooks, and then I actually hooked or put a hook within my power drill and secured it tightly because that's going to help when my fingers start to get tired. This was my first time doing this hack, and I do have to say I had to screw them in to a certain degree on their own, because if you just try to like plop them in a little bit and then use the power drill, it's a little bit too powerful. So you want to make sure you're kind of screwing it in enough where the hooks are staying straight, and then you can use the drill. I really like this as a beginner woodworking project just because it's super simple, but it makes a really large impact, and you can scale it and design with the shelving however your heart desires. So it's just a one-of-a-kind piece. I hope that you guys enjoyed this beginner woodworking project. If you are looking for more of these, I would be happy to do them. Comment down below some ideas, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know what you are looking for. Thank you once again to Vanity Planet for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to click the link in the description box down below and use my discount code to get 70% off your radia, and that equals out to be about 39 bucks. But I will see you next time for another DIY, guys. Thanks for all your love and support. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Bye, everybody.
Until next time.
Until next time. Until next video, which is in literally like 3 seconds.
The leg kick.
My favorite colors are mint green and gold. Also rose gold. And I love dogs, and I love to swim, and I love gymnastics. And I'm dying. I coughed on it, and it went up my nose. That's to 1 million subscribers.
We're almost at a 500,000.
Because the mill is a goal. We're at like 20.
Oh my god, that literally was steaming my butt. How did that even turn on?
That's how you get a steamed buttocks.
Okay, we're leaving.